let's get into the fishing topic, Tim. Let's do it. I have these evergreen topics, so to say. So
Yes.
it comes down to the moments that are slower, and right now is not necessarily a slower time in fishing. But
It is in Minnesota.
yeah, because the water's still fucking freezing cold. The weather hasn't switched yet. The ice is
Well,
freshly off.
on certain lakes, we're
Tell
still in purgatory.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Keep going on that, please.
There's
Like,
other
because the weather's been fucked,
my
especially north.
parents' lake up north 2 weeks ago still had 2 feet of ice.
Whoa.
Yeah, when it was like
Whoa.
70 out and I'm seeing like almost all the ice go off around here, I'm seeing pictures on Facebook of people still ice fishing.
Yeah.
Like walking out with their bucket and drilling a hole and just fishing and stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
and,
Just on foot. Sure.
but still like, yeah, around here I'm like, come on, I want to go fishing. And up there, they're like sending pictures like, I thought it was springtime.
And they're just pulling fucking perch out of the ice,
Yeah.
and you're
Yep.
like, you bastards.
And then I saw like one of the most perfect memes I've ever seen, and I can't find it anywhere except for this one guy's post. So I just like took a screenshot of it and sent it to my wife. I'm not gonna send it every place else because it's so weird to have this guy's name and like other comments underneath it.
Yeah,
But I
agree.
can't find the picture. I was looking for it, but it's an old timey picture of a lady like drinking a soda, and it says "Try new Minnesota spring," and then on the bottom it says "Now with more winter." And I was like, "That's fucking perfect."
That's great. That's great. Oh my god, that's so good. Okay, so the whole reason why I brought that up is because this is one of the evergreen topics where we're gonna tell a story. So grab yourself whatever beverage it is. You got your morning Monday coffee, or you got your Yukon Jack, or you got your
Evan
Bush
Williams.
Latte. Oh, Evan. Legit choice.
Just like yell it. Come on,
Like,
get my
Evan,
whiskey right.
get it right.
Or there's also Japanese whiskey.
Oh, you still have the Japanese whiskey?
Tequila.
Yeah. Tequila.
The beer from last
Well,
episode. It's all here.
there's 3 beers left over from last episode.
I'm telling
It's
you,
just
if you've
the
listened
normal.
to this, like I do the podcast and then shit doesn't move.
Which is the right way to do a podcast. You just
Hey,
sit down and everything's right there.
No point. We don't do anything over here. Like, no point in moving in any place else.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I got more booze upstairs. I don't need to come down here from this shit.
Hell yeah. Okay. So yes, the reason why I brought that up is because we're in a bit of a weird purgatory thing. As you go further south, you get a different thing, but you go north, you got a different thing, and we live in the middle of the state where we are in that like good zone right now.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to tell a story that I said I would never tell. I've never told you, which is the weirdest thing to me. And I have witnesses. I swear this is a true story. And that is what this topic is going to be. And that's why I said, get your drink, get your morning coffee, get your beers, whatever time you're listening to this at, sit back, relax, because that's what we're going to do.
Yep.
I want to go first.
Yeah, dude. I'm excited.
I hope I didn't hype it up too much. There's going to be some show and tell, by the way. So if you go over to youtube.com and look up Real AF TV, remember Real like Fish and Real, you will see this. I'm going to do my damnedest to have Tim describe it for me. So I have this lure, Tim. I'm going to hold it right up to the camera.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's a little blown out because of it's chartreuse on the bottom. It's green.
Yep.
And then it goes to like a black
with the
stripe
black
across the back, right?
Yep.
We got a treble hook.
It's like a fire tiger color, except for it doesn't have the orange belly.
Oh, okay. Just got a little bit of the orange right there.
A little touch of the orange, yeah.
Doesn't even count though, right? In comparison to fire tiger, what you're saying? So, okay, so it's got a treble hook in the front. I mean, what would you say? Like, you go ahead and describe the bait a little bit more better than me, or the lure better than me.
Well, it's like a deep diving jerk bait is
Yep.
what it is, and a little bit shorter one with 2 hooks, probably like a 4-incher,
Sure.
maybe
Yeah.
3.5, somewhere in there.
Yeah. And it's got the treble in the front and
Um,
the treble coming off the tail.
yeah, and with that
Pretty
colored
typical.
bill, I'm not real familiar with it, but it looks like it might be made by Storm or somebody.
Okay, so that is the thing. So this is the most fucking generic bait or lure I've ever seen, right?
Okay, yep.
And the reason why I say that is because the way you describe it, at being the fisherman of the podcast, the way you describe it lights up parts of my brain that go, "Ooh, that thing's a ripoff."
No,
And
that looks legit.
okay, but I mean, I think it's a little bit of a ripoff because this is, again, I'm telling 100% true story. When it comes to
Okay.
fishing, I'm not this creative to make this shit up. It comes from a tackle box that was won from a scratch off back in the 90s.
Like a loaded tackle box?
Like a tackle box that's about
Yep.
a foot wide and about
Yeah.
6 or 8 inches
Oh,
deep.
yeah, like the little one. Yep.
It's
Like a
tiny.
shoebox size.
Yeah, it's a tiny little box, and it was just loaded with random shit, and it came from a Minnesota State Lottery scratch off in the 90s.
Damn, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah. This, and it's a largemouth story, which is right away. You were obviously the first person I was like, "Oh, we got to get a photo for Tim." So we're at this beach,
Okay.
and I say we, which is why I have witnesses.
Sure.
Basically, my sister, her family, and my wife are all there.
Okay.
The kids are playing at the beach,
Mhm.
and we all have our polarized lenses on now, which is new to the girls.
Okay. Yeah.
And we all, I mean, I'm not going to explain polarized lenses. And you came for the fishing, you know what a polarized lens is.
Right.
And we're at a beach, so you already know I'm fairly shallow.
Yep.
You also know I'm fairly rookie because that was the lure I chose to throw in, oh, I don't know, probably something like 3 feet of water.
Sure. Yeah. If it's floating, you could get it by with it, but yeah, if you don't know what you're doing, you just cast it out and reel it straight in. That thing's gonna go straight into the dirt.
I don't know. I think it must be floating. It must be floating. I
I
don't
mean,
know how
because
I would
like
tell.
floating, you can
It's
like
pretty
reel it
light.
and then pause it, and then it's all based off of what it's made out of. You can't really tell the difference by like lifting it and holding
Oh,
it
okay.
unless it's set it on there. Because like some of the like most of the Rapala stuff is made out of like balsa wood, so
Right.
that floats, and you know
Yep.
like the other
Yep.
ones are made out of plastic, and there's counterweights to help them sink and all this other shit. So
Okay. So I'm
it
pretty sure this one floats.
could sink, probably floats. Most of the
I'm pretty
old
sure
school
this one
ones float.
floats. So I just grab it. I grab it
Yep.
because I'm looking in the water, and there's weeds off to the side of the beach. And I've seen
Right.
people fishing there before. And so I'm just over there just drinking beer. And I look and I'm like, "Oh, what is that? What Whoa. Oh. Hey. Hey guys. And I get my wife and my sister to come over, and I'm like, "You got Yeah, you got your Oakleys on. Hey, that's a bass, right?" And they're like, "I don't know." And I'm like, "Yeah, and they just go, "I don't know, it's a good sized fish." I was like, "Yeah, that's a bass. I'm pretty sure that's a bass." Ooh. Ooh, it's chasing all the little fish. I don't know. Maybe this chartreuse green thingy, right? Kind of looks like those little
Yeah.
tiny fishes, but the little fish are much more camouflaged than that, right?
Right. Right.
So I take my Tim learned skills
Yeah.
and I say, I got to get past that motherfucker, which thankfully isn't that far. I'm talking
Right.
like, throw this thing out less than 20 feet, right?
Yep.
To get past it, and I'm like, I'm just going to reel in front of its face. So yes, it is floating now because I remember reeling and then having to stop and then reeling, and I'm like, okay, now I'm going to start popping it and stuff. So I throw this fucking lure past it, and it's just in the shallows. This bass is just in the shallows, hunting. And fucking A, if it wasn't the first throw, I
Hell
bring it
yeah.
right over its head. It noticed it. Pop. Man, it nailed that thing. It
Yeah,
fucking
dude.
nailed it.
I knew it was gonna. As soon as you said it was chasing the other fish, I was like, it is protecting something. What time of year was this? Do you remember? Did you say
It
that
was
already?
no, I didn't. Thank you for bringing it up, though. This is why I wanted to tell the story to you because I knew you'd like be able to read into it and think more. So I'll say this: it's midday, and I'm in wet swim trunks. So this
Okay.
has to be like a decent June day because we don't go
Sure.
super like we don't go to this beach super early. The
Yeah.
water was the water was fairly cold, but like kids were
Yeah.
playing in it with no big
Yeah.
deal, right?
Right. I
Okay?
bet it was early June and you had a bass spawning.
No kidding.
That's why I was chasing everything away. It was protecting the bed.
Oh,
It
I
was
thought it was
aggressive.
eating.
No, it would like they don't really like if they're gonna eat, they'll just run after something and grab something. They're not normally like
Okay.
absent-minded where they're just chasing everything that comes past. Like when they
Yeah,
eat,
it
it's
was
normally
darting.
like
Like
they
it was doing a lot of like erratic moves, I
yeah,
guess.
because I think it was chasing everything. So you put something there, and it
Okay.
was like another one of you motherfuckers, and
No
just smash
kidding.
that thing. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Okay.
that's
See,
awesome
this
though.
yeah, it was so fucking cool because we could see it and then like they got the darker back on them so you can see it darting around and it was so
Hmm.
fucking cool to watch. And I was like, I don't know. And that was when I made the like, I'm gonna catch this thing because I had my license, I had my pole, I had my rod, like everything was there. I was like, I'm going for it. I think we got
Yeah,
something here. So sure enough, bam, I throw it over. It hits. It snapped it up so fast. I watched the whole thing happen. So I just snatched it, bam, hit it right in the mouth, pull it in, and I drag it up onto the beach because
yeah,
I was fishing from the beach. So I was literally
sure.
fishing from the beach.
Yep,
So as soon as it hit it, I got a good hook on it, got it in, super easy. Pretty sure I did the right mouth thing.
yep,
Because this was years ago now, well before the podcast, but still, fishing.
yep,
So everything feels good. It's a little wiggly. He gets, feels a little aggressive in my hands. So I take the hook out and I'm holding it and it kind of freezes up like you expect. And I'm like,
yep.
sweet. Okay, okay. So sister's got her phone out. She's like, okay, yeah, we're gonna. Wow, nice fish. she, my sister and my wife are very, very impressed. Like, oh, that's a very
Sure.
nice fish.
Wow. Yep. Yep.
So sister goes and gets her phone, has her phone ready, and I'm holding it up. I was like, oh my god, I can't wait to send this to Tim. This is awesome. Wait a minute, it's got a whole bunch of sand on the side of it. Let me just get that sand off, and I'm holding it underneath.
Oh no.
Yeah, you already know what's gonna happen, don't you?
Uh-huh.
You already know.
Yep.
This is my ultimate why I said I would never tell the story, and here I am on a podcast telling it. I lowered it to the water and I had it like I swear I had it in the mouth, but as soon as I tried to splash it with water, as soon as I tried to rinse it off, it flipped out, dude. I lost my grip. It fell in the lake. It got deep enough and swam away.
Yep.
I was so bummed.
Dang.
I was literally taking a picture to send to you. It
Yeah.
was just sandy. Easily the biggest largemouth bass I've ever caught. And
Yeah.
then later, me and you fished that lake, and you
Yeah.
told me, "Oh yeah, dude, the record largemouth bass came out of this lake."
Yeah. The state record comes out of that lake.
We call it Lake Auburn. If you look it up, they call it Auburn Lake, but locals don't call it Auburn Lake. Nobody, we don't fucking call it Mille Lacs Lake. We call it Lake Mille Lacs. That's just not how we talk. You can look it up. I know that fish was not 8 pounds and whatever fucking ounces, because I've seen an 8-pounder come out of the South, right?
Yep.
It's, what is it? 815 in 2005. This was after 2005, but closer to 2010 than 2020 that we are now. Like it was,
Sure.
I'm saying 2015, 2017 or something. I caught this fish. It was not an 8-pound 15, basically a 9-pound bass. I've seen those come out of, now that I'm a fisherman, right?
Right. Yep.
Or I should say, now that we're doing the podcast, now I'm following fishermen closer.
Sure.
I know what a 9-pound bass looks like. This was not a 9-fucking-pound bass.
Right.
Easily the best largemouth I've ever caught. Could have been in the 5 to 6 pound range.
Yeah, I was gonna say 4 or 5 pound is huge. Like when you see it in person, you're like, damn. Like when you see the mouth open on like a 5-pounder.
Yeah.
I mean, you like I could fit my fist in its mouth, and I'm a big dude. Like
Yeah. Okay.
it's an impressive.
Holy shit. Okay. So
Yeah.
I was in that range, unfortunately. I was. I wouldn't have fit your fist now thinking about it. It was about the size of my fist.
That's a big fish, man.
It was a big fish, dude. I'm
Yeah.
so sad. I even hate reliving it right now, but I was just like, it sounds so fucking fake that I caught the biggest bass, the biggest largemouth of my life by sight fishing off a beach with a deep dive jerkbait
Yeah.
on, like, it just sounds fake. It sounds fake, but I swear to God, dude, it really
Hey,
happened.
man. Yeah, it's
I'm
funny
so
too to
disappointed
have
in
the
myself.
backstory of the lure and everything. To just be like with a lure that came from the Minnesota lottery in the 90s.
It's too much, right? Like, who
The-
makes up this like
Dude,
crazy
yeah,
backstory?
it's one of those where like there's so many details that are just kind of crazy that you're like, it's not fake, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't think it's not that outlandish anyways. It's not like
No.
you're like, "Oh, I had the state record," you know?
Right. It came from the lake that has
It
produced a
did.
state
Yeah.
record fish.
Right.
So to have other big ones in there, I guess that kind of backs up my story. Am I wrong? Like, does that help make my story more real?
It's just it's a small, very weedy lake, and
Yeah.
because of how round it is, there's
Yep.
not a whole lot of structure.
Yep.
So it totally makes sense that there are a lot of big fish in that lake because they're just kind of anywhere.
Mm.
It's hard to go on that lake and be like, I'm gonna pinpoint where they are. You can fish the
Mm.
whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
but because because of the weeds are so thick and stuff too,
Yeah.
it's cooler in dense weeds than what the water temperature reads outside
Oh,
of the weeds.
right.
So those fish could be up shallow all year long. They could be out deep. They could be
Yeah.
anywhere. It's
Sure.
be a hard lake to fish. So
Right.
it's 100, and it's one of those too where if there was a fish that got that big and a lot of people fish that lake and stuff, it was
Mhm.
probably where you weren't expecting it to be.
Sure.
And because there's so many weeds and stuff, and there's probably a decent food source, and it's probably just out there eating, and
Yep.
people aren't even fishing where it's at. It's just
Right.
living its life. And then
Sure.
one person got lucky enough to put a bait in front of it. Because, like you said,
Yep.
you're out there swimming, and I think that's the majority of people.
Yep.
Saw one guy when we went out there the one time in a boat where he had the long propeller, like you would drive into like foot
Oh.
deep streams, and he was driving around on that, and it's just like,
Yeah, that's the
I
shit they
don't
drive
know.
around, like, in the bayou where they're just like, "Oh, it's
Yeah.
gonna get low," and they just fucking kick her up.
Yeah, and you're like, well,
Yeah,
I guess
forgot about that.
I don't know if these people know what the fuck is going on. Like, the couple of people that fish it, don't really know what they're doing at all. So it's possible that they do, but it's
Right.
100% possible that there are just a ton of monster fish in there, and
Sure.
nobody fishes it because it's just a small little lake.
Right.
And
Right.
if you get like 4 or 5 boats on it, it's crowded. you know? So
Yeah, that's a really funny way of looking at it, but I got you. I get what you're saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of those weird ones where down south, a lot of people fish ponds and stuff, and they produce big bass, and
Oh,
nobody ever
sure.
fishes a boat or brings a boat in there because it's just ponds.
Right, 'cause it's so
But
small,
that
like, it's
pond,
just you'd
yeah,
be a weirdo. You'd be a
but that
weirdo out there
pond
in a
has a
canoe.
good food source, and they're not spawning, creating more, so there's not bass eating all the bait, and
Mm,
it's crazy. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and this is kind of like a big pond. I mean, there's a channel
Yep.
that connects, like, 2 parts of it, but I know what you mean. You're
Yep.
making interesting.
So yeah, man, it's totally possible. But
I
for
s
me,
I swear it was
I
real.
think,
I have no photo.
dude, I 100 I believe you 100%. I don't You got witnesses to back it up and everything.
Right,
For
they're not
me,
here, but hey,
yeah,
hey, at me in the comments on YouTube, and I'll get them to record a video, and they're
right.
both probably gonna be like, "No, I don't know. You got a fish?"
For me, the one that probably sounds the most made up that I've caught, because like I've caught a muskie off of having another fish eat it, but that's
Yep.
not that rare. Plenty of people have done that before.
Sure, sure.
I've caught
Yeah.
a fish that has broken off my lure on like the next cast and got my lure back. That one's a
No
little bit,
way.
yeah, that one's a little bit different, but it was a pike, so like pike are a little bit crazy anyways, if you miss a bass like that.
But tell me
There's
quick, where was it just stuck in its lip?
No, it was like it went through it, like must have tried to swallow the minnow because I was using live bait, and there was like
Okay, okay.
the jig was like way down here in the gill plate, like not the
Oh,
gills
wow.
itself, but the plate.
Wow.
Yeah, so I hooked it here, and then there's another jig
So you hooked it,
way
like,
back there. I have
you hooked it right in the nose, basically, right in front?
Yeah, I hooked it. Yep, I hooked it where you would normally hook it, and then the other one had like fallen through and was still hooked in there. I have a picture of that one somewhere.
Nice.
But the craziest one for me probably was, there was one time we were fishing Lake Winnebagosh on opener,
Okay.
and all these people are out there catching these monsters. So this is what makes it even a little bit more, crazy, because everybody, so it was a couple of days before opener that the ice had gone out.
Oh
So
my
we're
god.
fishing this lake, and the ice had just left Lake Winnebagosh, and all of the walleyes had gone upstream to spawn because they'll swim into like an opening or whatever, and there's like a
Okay,
creek.
okay. Yeah, sounded a
So
little familiar. Keep going, though.
yeah, so they had all gone up there, and then everybody's sitting on the opening of like the mouth of this thing, waiting for fish to swim by.
Yeah.
And it's slow going for some people, but I mean, people are like catching fish of a lifetime,
And
pulling
you're
in
seeing
like,
this, like, you can see this happening.
seeing this happening, and then like at night everybody's back like around campfires and stuff and talking about like, you caught a 30-incher, and everybody's like, you did, you
Oh
30
my
30-incher,
god.
hell yeah. And then you'd have somebody be like, I got one too, 30-incher, you did, oh my god. So like, and this is just one of the
What the
resorts, like,
hell?
dude, just massive fish, right? So, and nobody can get any eaters though, so everybody's like, we just can't find any of the eaters,
Really?
and they all want to have a fish fry, right?
Yeah,
So
hold on
we're
one
out.
second. I'm gonna pause for 1 second.
Okay.
So, everyone was around the campfires at night. Was it because there was so much success during the day that nobody went out at night? Because that's walleye fishing time too, yeah?
Oh, it was just like cold and shitty. Yeah. Like the it was,
Because opener's always cold and shitty. Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Enough
And
said.
also like on Lake Winnebagosh, like I think it's just not really um you don't have to fish a night bite because it's like a very well known walleye lake. You can fish during the day and have success
Oh, okay.
and not have to do like, I'm gonna stay up all night. So
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. We were just fishing normal times. There was probably
Gotcha.
some people out there fishing the night bite, but we weren't. So we're all out there and we're trying to, and the guy's boat that I'm in,
Mhm.
uh we're fishing and we're catching the eaters.
No.
We're trying different spots than everybody
Okay.
else. We're fishing like the top of these break lines, and we're just kind of like moving around and roaming, and he's like slowly trolling, and I can't remember if he was pulling a rappler or what. I'm pulling a jig and a minnow and just
Okay.
kind of like bouncing it off the bottom as we troll. So we're just
Really?
covering a lot of water.
Okay.
and
Yeah.
we're catching eaters and stuff. And we get to a certain point, and all of a sudden, like, I hook into something, and I'm like, there's weight here. And then I'm like, but it's not fighting. And then I'm like, but maybe it's fighting. I don't know what this is.
And
And
this is while trolling still, right?
yeah. So we're
Okay.
moving,
Okay.
and I'm like, I got something, but I don't
Weird.
know. And
And it's
then, like, I
tugging
reel it up.
and
Yeah. So, like, it kind of pulled a little bit, but then it didn't. But then there was still weight. So I'm like, there's something on the line, but I don't know what it is. And I reel it up. And then when I reel it up, I got a fishing line. So I'm like, oh, I hooked into somebody else's broken line. That's weird. And I'm like, maybe I'll find a lure. So I'm like pulling it in, trying to find it. And I get to the end, and there is still a live walleye on this line. So somebody else broke the line
yes.
from way out, man. I don't know why, like, the line would have broke so far up,
Yeah.
but I caught that line and then pulled it in and got myself a new lure and a walleye in one cast. And then
Hell
I'm
yeah, dude.
telling people that I caught the one that got away, you know?
That's right.
And
Yes,
so that,
yes.
I think that's probably the most far-fetched sounding one I have, where it's like, oh, you caught another line and then there was a walleye at the end of that line, you know?
Of all fish to be too in
Yeah,
Minnesota,
dude.
especially, right?
Yeah,
It had to
I
be a
don't
walleye.
right. And it's like, I don't know what to tell you. There's a lot of questions I have about
Yes.
this. I don't know why there was so much line attached to his lure, why it wouldn't have broke closer to the fish. Like, why is there 20 feet of line? Because I pulled it for a while. I just,
Right, right.
I don't know
Why
most of
did
the,
it break there?
yeah, I don't know. But we ate that fish. It sucks for him. He thought he got away. I'm sorry, buddy.
Nope.
No,
And
next
also,
time, well, no, you won't have it next time, but next time break the line closer to the lure. But yeah, you learned your lesson too late, and now you'll never be able to fix your mistakes.
never fixing your mistakes. That's what the Real AF TV podcast is about. Fix your mistakes, learn from them.
Yeah,
But when
try
you
not to
break
get
a line
murdered.
20 feet before the walleye, yeah, how does that work? I don't know.
Right.
How do you learn
Yeah.
from that? What the
Well, I'm
fuck?
saying like the fish. I'm talking about the fish. Like you
Oh,
lose it. Like I'm just talking about like,
right, right.
yeah, learn from your mistakes and try not to get murdered. Because if you get caught by somebody bigger than you, and they murder you for your meat, you don't learn.
You didn't learn. You're dead.
You're dead. Nothing to be learned from that. Just regrets.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't pick up on that. So the question I have for you on that is you don't understand how it broke that far away.
No, he must have had like just shitty line or something.
But yeah, that's what I was gonna say. But like
Unless he got,
speculate even on that because
yeah, I mean,
what the fuck?
unless he had a fish and the fish got him into the rocks or something and he couldn't get it and it was
Okay.
stuck someplace and he's like, you know what, fuck this, and cut his line himself. And
Oh.
then once he cut his line, the fish was able to swim out from where it was stuck.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
But
There we
other
go.
than that, I don't know. Or maybe he had just like a fucked up eyelet, like accidentally stepped on it and now it's just rough
Oh, and
metal.
it's sharp.
Yeah, and the fish pulled it and it just cut the line there. I don't
Yeah.
know.
In fact, that was pretty Canadian of me. That was my northern
Yeah.
came out. It's pretty sharp.
Geez, Louise, that end tip could have been a little bit rougher than normal and it could have just sliced right through clean, you know?
Just a clean cut right there, right through the
Like
line.
a
Just
hot knife through butter. Just, you know? It's like, oh
oh yeah,
man,
you know.
just like easier than getting through mom's hot dish when she leaves it in the oven too long, Just, it's like a hot dish before it got cooked. It's just soup.
Just
You go right,
soup.
just go right through.
We are from that part of the world, guys. We are. We are from that part of the world. That's why we're good at it. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
So
That wasn't that was a reenactment, not a
that
joke.
was it really happened. We saw our uncles do that one time. Both of us. We each have an uncle that has done that at Easter.
we each, yeah.
Was it a good lure?
Nah, it wasn't anything special. I can't even remember what it was. If it was something cool, I would have remembered for sure. I would have been like,
Right,
get
right.
this too, this lure. You know, it was something I don't think I ever used again. But it caught a fish at
But
one
you
point.
got the eater, which is
Yeah.
crazy because, of course, and so the not so speaking of this being our true stories, right?
Yeah.
Do you think the people around the fire were just telling tall fish tales? Oh, you caught a 30? Caught a
No, there
24? Like, do you think
no,
they were
because
full of shit, having trouble finding eaters?
everybody had people in their boat. So like everybody there had witnesses.
Yeah,
And I think
everybody had
yeah.
their buddy, right? That was like,
Yep,
"Yeah, it's
and for
true,
the
it's
most
true.
part,
I've
everybody
seen
was showing pictures, but, like, I don't need to go and see it. I know what a 30-inch fish looks like, and I don't know
it." Right,
you. Like, if it was my uncle holding it, I'd be like, "Yeah, let me see it," you know?
right,
But
right,
it's like some guy sitting around the fire and just like, "I'm good. I know
right.
what a
You're like
30-inch fish looks like, and I don't know you." So, seeing a stranger hold a 30-inch fish is just like every other fucking picture I've seen.
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally get it.
But, yeah, those
It just occurred to me that there the way you said everybody was just like, "Oh, catching biggers." And then it was just like, "Wait, you guys are raking in the eaters." And really everybody wants the eat. I mean, nothing wrong. Everybody wants to catch a good one too. Of course, of course, of course. Don't get me wrong. But you want 9 out of 10 walleyes you catch just to be eaters.
right, yep. But then we're like, it depends on what you're doing too, like, uh that's just the time of year where you can catch those monsters. Like it was like perfect
Mm,
timing and stuff. And we're
okay.
sitting at the fire, and everybody else is just like, God, you know, I caught a 30-incher, but I just want some of those eaters. And I just want to be like, let's switch roles then, Dick. You come and catch the eaters, and I'll catch those 30-inch fish. I want the trophy, dude. I
Come
catch
on.
eaters. I catch eaters all year. I want that trophy. You know, I don't
Do
come all the way
you
up here.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're like, "I drove all the way up. What the fuck?" These guys are like, "I don't know. It's just neighborhood. Just in the
Yeah.
neighborhood. Just came over for a
Ju-
weekend."
just like all these goddamn 30-inch fish. What the fuck am I supposed to do with these? Like just whining about like the biggest fish you ever caught. Really wish we could eat some fish. God, get some goddamn Ritz and go back out there and catch another trophy. Whiny bitch.
So, so you were on a single hook, right? I mean,
Mm.
what it's just one hook.
I was using a jig in a minnow. Yeah, small.
You didn't have a
Um,
treble on there or anything like that. It's just
nope, single, just one.
and
It
you
was. I can remember I was using a green. Abby, you have to play with that toy right here. I'm
could barely
recording.
hear it. I don't even know if the people
You
would hear
can?
it.
I can hear it through my
I
headphones.
heard it a little
Sorry.
bit, a little tiny beep
She's
beep.
just like crunching and squeaking, and it's like, are you kidding me? Right now. It's
Right now,
what
dog,
right
you have
now.
to be like trying to talk about walleye.
Anyways, yeah, it was a eighth ounce. I can't remember if it was an eighth or a 16th ounce. Pretty sure it was an eighth ounce knuckleball jig, a FinTech knuckleball jig in
Mm-hmm.
green,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that and a fat head. And that's it.
No,
And I was just working it
and you
slow.
just so happen to snag a line like with one
Uh-huh.
single
Yeah.
hook. Like it's
Yeah, dude.
so fucking wild. Like
Dude.
that's the part that makes it extra crazy to me.
Yeah,
It's
and
like
it's like,
single hook.
dude, I
What
don't
the
even
balls?
know like how I mean, to catch it while you're jigging too. That's a relatively weedless
Yeah.
hook.
Yeah.
If it goes over the top of it, I
Yeah.
don't catch it.
Sure.
How would my hook have gone under this line to hook
Yeah.
it? You know, the hook's like
Yeah.
this.
That
Like
it's the part of the story to me that makes it the untrue. Like it makes it
yeah,
the
I mean like
unbelievable
okay,
part.
so if the hook's like this and there's a line here and I pull it this way, nothing hooks it. If I pull it this way, it hooks it. But
Yeah.
how does this hook go under it? Because there's a line attached to that jig,
Yeah.
you know?
And for the audio listeners, I'm sorry. I cannot describe well what Tim just said. You're gonna have to
Yeah,
go to YouTube and check
I
that
don't know
out.
how to tell you guys either. Like, I mean, just think about it being a jig
Mhm.
and then just a hook. And
Right, because
how
there's
can you
an
hear that
entire
now?
Like there's a whole
Sorry,
entire
she's
part of
going
that.
off.
No, I can no, I can't really hear.
Sorry.
There's like a whole part of it that can't catch. Like that's the only thing that I can think in my head. Is just like there's like a third of a circle that could catch that at best. I don't know.
Right.
It's so
Yeah,
crazy to think
not
about.
even. Yeah. Well, no, it's probably,
About
yeah, maybe.
45 degrees out of 365 that could catch. And it's
Yeah, it's
one
just,
hook. It's only one. Like if you take a treble hook, you've just turned
yeah, dude,
365
it's
degrees into
wild.
3D space.
Yeah, and the fact that I like hooked that line and it stayed on my line to like reel it in and then actually like land it.
Yep. It's so weird, dude.
There's so many what the fucks. Like I don't know how like logistically when you try to do the math and figure out how that happened. No idea. I have no
Nope.
idea.
It just goes your brain shut down because
None.
you're fishing into 3D space on a 2D plane with a jig. Is the way I
Yeah,
kind of look at it.
pretty much. Yeah, dude, it's
Fucking so weird.
yeah. It's like one of those weird like where you get it from the novelty store where
Yeah.
you're like you got the two rings and you're like this doesn't make any sense. These can't come apart, but then when you know the trick they're just like ting and they come apart and you're like
Right.
I don't understand what just happened. That's what happened. Like the line would have essentially had to like go through my line and then hook the hook.
Yeah.
No
So
clue, dude. I have no
so
clue.
fucking weird. So fucking weird.
Yeah. And if there's ever been a real life like what is that movie
Clockwork
where
Orange.
where like Final Destination. If
Oh
there's
yeah.
ever been a real Final Destination, like that fish was already caught and the line broke.
Right.
And then just like some astronomical odds
Astronomically
of me
impossible.
catching it, it still happens, and then I still catch and eat the fish. They're
Right,
just like
right.
that fish was meant to be ate. No doubt about it.
Yeah, dude. For sure. That is so true. Do this one might get a little long and I have a short version.
Okay.
But do you have a favorite fishing memory right now? Like to date? Could you narrow it down to one even?
I
And
I think my favorite fishing memory, yeah.
okay. Go
Yeah.
no, I just want to say this. The crazy true one might be your favorite. I don't think it's mine necessarily, just because of
No.
all the yours isn't either.
No, it's
You're,
mine's a crazy cool story, but it's not my favorite fishing moment.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what would be a favorite for you?
So my favorite fishing moment was just fishing down in Florida
Yeah.
when we didn't know anything about like what the Florida fishing was like, and we
Okay.
knew about tarpons, and we're like, "Hey,
Yeah.
can we go fishing for tarpon?"
Yeah.
And the guy was like, "No, that's more of a summer thing. They're all out super deep. I can put you on some other fish." And we were like, "Okay, god damn it."
It's actually kind of funny. Like Abby's little squeakers in the background. I could hear it now.
She is going bananas, dude. She is like sprinting back and forth down the hallway. I don't know what got into her. She's going absolutely crazy.
She's got the zoomies right now.
We've done so many of these podcasts. I guess it's because I'm home alone today, and she's just like, nobody's here. I'm doing what I want. I don't know, dude.
Dad's podcasting, so I can just fuck around.
Hey, come here. Come here. Come here. No, she ran away. She's just like, Dad, that's a come here because he's not happy. She dropped the toy and ran the other way. Like, I don't know where she just went.
She's disappeared. She's disappeared into another part of the house entirely.
Yep. She's like, shit. I'm not going over there.
So you're in Florida and it's summertime?
So
is that what I picked up
Florida
on?
And it's not summertime.
It's not
summertime is when you would have caught the fish. We were in Florida in like around Valentine's Day. I think it was like February something. But when we were down there, it's my favorite fishing moment because, like I said, catching new stuff is always exciting.
Mhm.
And we went down there and we killed it that day. We caught so many random ass things.
Oh,
And
nice.
the fact that it was all
Yep.
stuff I never caught before, like the
Mhm.
whole day was just like the ambiance of it. We're like fishing in like the Everglade type thing where like we're
Nice.
off outshore, but we're like in trees still. You're like, what? I don't even know what this is. And we're driving back in shallow water and there's dolphins that are like surfing our wake and you're like, dude,
Oh,
this is
fuck yeah.
gnarly. Like our trip to our spot has dolphins just playing with us. What the fuck is going on?
Fuck
And then we
yes.
get out there and we start fishing and my mom is catching these sheep's head which are different than the rough fish around here,
Right.
and they have like molars like people, so they come up and they got like a smile and you're like, what?
Yeah, yeah,
What
yeah,
is
yeah.
that fish? That's crazy. And my dad caught a grouper and one of the sheep heads, I
Oh,
believe.
nice.
Yeah, and then my sister caught a stingray and a blowfish, and the guy
Yeah.
goes, "Yeah, you know what's cool about the blowfish?" And he like puts it in the bait tank and like squeezes it, and it puffs up, and he's like, "You can bounce them," and then just goes bam and bounces the fucking thing off the side of the boat into the
What
water like a basketball,
what
like a
the
bounce
fuck?
pass. We're all like,
And he's like,
"Oh
"Don't worry, it's
shit!"
gonna be alive."
He's like, "Don't worry, it doesn't get hurt. It like fills up with water, so like all its vital organs are like 100%. It's all protected. Like it's
That's
just got a
so
big
crazy. So
like
part not only because it puffs up and gets bigger and says like, "Hey, you're fucked if you try to eat me
yeah,
because I have spines," it's
yeah,
also protecting all its vital
yeah. It
organs.
fills it
What?
fills a big cushioning around all its vital organs, so you can't even get to it, even if you like hit it hard. He's like, no worries, it'll deflate in the water.
That's sweet.
Yeah, and I'm unless you know CTE is a thing with fish, and they just don't know about it because that thing got a concussion for sure. Like because that jarred the fuck out of that thing.
Right,
Just
right.
boom, like he slammed it down. It scared us all. We didn't see it coming. He's like, you know what's cool about these? Bam! And we're all like, what the
The f
fuck? And then we're fishing a different spot and I'm catching all these sea trout and those things could fight. And they were like they look kind of
Nice.
like trout, but they had these dude big fangs, like inch and a half to 2 inch
What
fangs
the
on them.
fuck, dude?
Yeah, you should Google them sometime. They're
What the
gnarly looking.
hell? I
Yeah.
feel like this is the
And
first time I'm hearing that. What the
yeah,
fuck?
and I guess they're really good eating because he was like, "Do you guys want to keep them?" And we're like, "We're in a hotel room. We can't really cook anything."
Oh, fuck.
And then he kept them all because he's like, "They're good
Nice.
eating. I'll keep them. I'll eat them for supper tonight."
Hell yeah.
And then we caught those, and I caught a blue channel cat, like bright blue, like
No
salt
kidding.
water. Yeah, so I'm sure it was a small version of what that dude broke the record on.
Right.
And then I also caught
Sick, dude.
an oyster cracker. And that's when the guy turned to
This
my
sounds
dad, and
familiar.
that was another good moment of the thing, and he was like, "He can fish." Like, he said that, like, I was younger,
Oh,
and he's like,
no
"He knows how to
way,
fish."
dude.
Yeah, because I felt that thing bite.
Yep.
Oh, and a
Yep.
lizardfish. So, I caught that oyster cracker, and it's so little, such a small thing, and I was like, "I thought I felt something, but it doesn't feel like there's anything really on the line now," and I get it up, and he's like, "Oh, you caught an oyster cracker, that doesn't happen a lot." And it was
Yeah,
because
dude.
I detected the bite even though it
Right?
wasn't much,
Right.
and this thing
Sick.
had such a big mouth on it and it was so little, it looked like I could grab the mouth and just, like, push the tail, like, through its, like, just inverted if I wanted to, just bloop,
No way, dude.
Yeah,
Like a
because its
baby
mouth
sock.
dude, its yeah, right, exactly. Its mouth was way bigger than its body was, and then the
Crazy.
lizard fish looked like a snake, but then he showed me
Ew.
I'm like, "Did I catch a snake?" And he's like, "No, it's a lizard fish," and then he showed me that it has fins and stuff, so it's technically still a fish,
What the
but they
fuck?
call it a lizard fish and it looks like a snake.
Some kind of fucking in between evolution
Yeah,
weirdo shit. Ick.
yeah. So that was
Ugh.
that was
I just hate things that swivel and not swivel, but like
Yeah,
slither in the water. Freaks me out,
right.
dude.
So I think
Ugh.
that was my
That is
I gotta say
so
that's
sweet.
my favorite, like, besides catching some of the monsters, because 'cause I've got, like, real adrenaline rushes off of catching huge fish,
Oh, yeah, yeah, for
but
sure.
as a whole, that moment was like my whole family, we're all catching fish, we
Right,
killed it that day,
right.
we're none of these fish I've ever seen before, so every fish we land is exciting,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like, "What
yeah,
is
for
that? What
sure.
is that?" And my sister's fighting. Dude, stingrays fight like a motherfucker.
No
She
shit?
was we thought it was absolute monster she had on. Like, she could
Okay.
not get this thing in. It's pulling drag and stuff because of how flat it is,
I was gonna
and
say
when
it
she
must be
got
the
it in, it's
size,
like a
like the
dinner
surface area.
plate. Yeah, it was like a dinner plate size stingray.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Good
Like, not a
size.
big fish at all. But
I mean, it's a good size. It's a small ray, but like,
yeah, right.
yeah, okay.
But I mean,
Anyways.
like the way it was fighting, like in
Mhm, mhm.
Minnesota, that would have been a 25, 30 pound fish.
Oh my god.
And down there, because it's just pull and drag. She's like, "Zzz,
Sure.
zzz," and he's like, trying
Wow.
to get it up. And he knew it. It's like, it's probably stingray, you know?
So crazy how you spend that much time on the water and you get it, but that's all the more proof, or that had to make the memory great, is like this guy called the ray from, how far
Yeah.
away, so to
Well,
say,
it's like
from
when
how
I
far away.
catch a yeah, it's like when I catch a fish in Minnesota, I can most of the time tell you what kind of fish I have on the line just by the
Yeah,
way it's fighting.
yeah, because the
So
time on
I'm
the water.
sure down there, when you got drag pulling like that, there's only a couple of options. And
Right.
and he's like,
And he's like, "Well,
we
it's
don't
not a
it's
barracuda,
probably
so."
like we don't have no leader on, you know? It's
R
fighting like it could be a shark, but that shark would have bit through your line. I'm going stingray. Going
right.
stingray. This is
Yep.
stingray.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, 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 for sure, and then to get props from that guy for you, it's like,
Oh, dude.
right?
Yeah,
That had
that
to
felt
add to the memory of like, "Oh, fuck yeah,
yeah,
dude."
that put me on the path of like talk about confidence. When a chartering fisher guy and you're fishing in a place you've never fished
Never
before
fished before. This a
leans
freshwater fisherman on saltwater.
yeah, and
Yeah.
he just goes, "Yeah, you can fish."
Yeah, yeah,
And that
yeah,
like
and it's just
southern
and to
charm
say it
way
to your
too.
dad too, like, has
Yeah,
that special nod to it, right?
dude, and just the way southern people talk, like it just like I heard it and they just like the way they talk, it just sound, "Yeah, you can
Uh-huh.
fish. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah, you
Uh-huh,
can
uh-huh.
fish."
Right,
It's just like,
right.
"All right."
You're like, "Hell yeah." Like, it gives you that little, like, boost of confidence, like you said, like, "Yeah, yeah, dude.
Mhm.
Sweet."
Just turn around, like, give a little doff of the cap. Yeah. Mm. He can fish. Mhm.
Mhm.
He I don't I never wear hats. No, I do now. I do now, but I didn't then, so
Yeah. This is because 'cause we're going bald and you have to wear a
still
hat.
would have been funny just like, I wear it now because I learned that, like, when you're in the water and you're sight fishing and you do this a lot,
Mm.
trying to see in the water, and then I was like,
You just put your
"Hey,
hand over your eyes, or
hey,
you
that's
basically do the ball cap, the
yeah,
baseball
yeah.
bill cap thing.
Exactly, where I'm like, every time I wanna see in the water better, I do this, and then I go, "Hey, that's what a hat does. Hey,
I should just I should just get a hat
I should get a
so I
hat.
don't have to
Hey,
do that.
this is stupid. Why am I doing this all the time? Oh, that's why people wear hats. I get it now."
Oh, it's all making sense.
Yeah, there's a function, It's not just for looks.
That's funny. So, mine's a quick one. I do wanna share it because you brought up yours. Mine's just a quick, mine's not even an end cap. Mine's just a because to get it out there. My One of my favorite fishing memories is smallmouth bass.
Yep,
So it starts at that lake at Lake Auburn,
yep.
and my mom caught the biggest fish of the day. It was a smallmouth. I later learned in life.
There you go.
And that's not it. That's not the memory I'm going to. But it connects to my favorite one because that one from my childhood is like, "Oh, that was pretty cool." And it makes the memory of mine favorite one even cooler to know like, "Oh yeah, that smallmouths are dope. Smallmouth catch it's like catching a smallmouth is sick." We were in Hutchinson, or Hutch as real people call it, and we were fishing the dam and it had just been redone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about, but
Yep.
the people
Yeah.
might not know. How do you explain it, Tim? They took down an old school dam to put in a new school dam? I don't know
Yeah,
how else to put
they
that.
went well, I mean, they really went, like, ornamental with it too. It used to be just like an old school, like, it was really, just a dam where the
Mhm.
water would go over it, and I'm
Yeah,
assuming they would use it for, like, maybe just regulation of the water. I don't know
right.
if there was, like, any power source set up there,
No, I don't
but
think so. It's
they took
regulation
it
though.
down and they went like a multi-tier thing. Like, there's a bunch of rocks and stuff that they put
Mhm.
in, and,
Yep.
like, they
And it
just
should
made
really
it
help the
look
fish move.
yeah, they made it look really nice and,
Yep.
gave some more, structure and water movement and stuff. It's almost
Yeah, and
like
it
they
looks really
slowed it.
good too. You're right with the ornamental thing. It's like
Yeah.
it looked really pretty too.
Yep.
And so this was not too long after that. It could have been like a year or two after they did that. And by the way, go over to the episode 34, and we talked about dams, yo. So there's more in dams, but so this had just got done in Hutch, and we were fishing up at the top of the dam, and this was around the time of like the housing crash, and all this other shit, right?
Sure.
And so I'd started taking up fishing again because I was like, I want something to do just that isn't costing me a fucking $1 million. It's like, I gotta stop fucking going out of the bar and drinking every night. Just fucking go get my fix fishing.
Yeah, fishing's expensive, but
It
bar
can be.
drinking is crazy.
Right, exactly. But for me, it was pretty basic. We were just casting whatever, and my now wife was with me, and we were like just looking for something to do. And I was like, well, Tim just hooked me up with this rod reel combo. We can go get you something, and let's just go out and just fish the dam. Who gives a shit? We're outside. That was kind of like the whole mentality.
Yeah.
Throw on whatever, doesn't matter. And all of a sudden, bam, she gets a big hit. Huge. I remember having to pick it up out of the water for her, like lean over the dam, because we're just on the grass, and there's a wall because we're on the top part of the dam. And I remember having to lean over and pull that son bitch out. And that one we actually got a photo of, and I sent to you right away. And you're like,
that. Yep.
Do you remember it?
That was on the Instagram someplace.
Did we put it up? Good.
I'm pretty sure I did for a Throwback Thursday.
Fuck
in
yeah.
the past.
Good. Yep. Check us out on Instagram, Real AFTV, Real Like Fishing Reel, because then you'll see this photo. I was gonna go find it, and if we didn't already have it up, but yeah, and that's the biggest smallmouth that I've ever been a part of. Because I know, going back to like the one that my mom caught, like I wasn't really part of that. I was a kid, right? And it wasn't this big. I just know it wasn't this big, and it was.
Yeah.
It's all the events around it that were like, who cares? We're outside. I don't think we're going to catch anything. A new dam had just been made. So we're just going to like kind of walk around this park, but we're going to fish just to have something else to do. Like that's going to be the reason why we go there. And then there's going to be other things. And then all of a sudden, bam, this big fish hits, and it fought well. Dude. And it was just like and it's the only smallmouth ever that I've ever been a part of catching.
Golly jeebers.
Like directly in.
That's crazy. I've caught smallmouth on lakes they're not even supposed to be on.
I know. You always tell that story, and I'm just like, fuck, man. I've literally pulled in one in my entire life, and it wasn't even me.
I remember talking to you about that, like after you caught it, because I remember you sending a picture, and I'm like, oh damn, dude, smallmouth bass, and you were like, yeah, it fought well, and I was like, yeah, dude, they fight like hell,
Yeah.
You caught one of the best fighting fish, pound for pound, in the world.
Right, and it was a good size smallmouth too. I mean, it was decent.
Oh yeah, it was a good fish.
Yeah.
Yep, dude, smallmouth are so fun, and in the river, they know how to use the current. Man, can they fight?
Oh, for sure. It was it was great, and she got to fight it, and like I got to pluck it out of the water because she wasn't gonna go down there and get it, and we had to, and I was like, oh fuck no, we're landing this fish, and it's just and at the time, it was just like a casual fucking hangout, really. And now she's my wife, and it's just like, I look back at that really fondly now, like with an extra level of fondness. Oh, she's my baby's mom,
Right, dude, for sure. And like just those, if nobody else out there has experienced these moments of like catching a new personal best, when you haven't caught it before and you're able to catch that fish and you're able to land it. Like I could tell you about tons of moments that I've had great times where, especially when you're like sight fishing and you see it, there have been two different times, one with a largemouth, one with a smallmouth. Both of them were, around like 5.5 pounds. And one was underneath a pontoon boat. The other was over in some reeds when it was like spawning time. I know exactly where everything was. I know what lure I was using. I remember every piece of equipment. I know exactly what was happening. with
That
all these
is why
fish.
you are on a fishing podcast.
And and when I cast these things out and the fish comes out, both times without fail, I cannot help myself. I just go, it's a fucking monster. It's a monster. Get in that. And then I'm like,
Can't
getting
control
down,
it.
like trying to like, oh Jesus fucking great. Oh, and then we land it and they go, oh, 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 ah. Like looking in the net, like, oh shit, dude. Like, yes. And especially with that smallmouth. Because I'm like, is it like I get it in the net? I'm like, is that like when it came out? I was like, was that a smallmouth? Do I have a smallmouth? And I landed. I'm like, it's a fucking smallmouth. That's not even supposed to have a smallmouth on there. I'm just freaking the fuck out. It's like a 5-pound fish. Like, look at the size of this smallmouth. They're not even supposed to be smallmouth on this lake. What is happening right now? And like that, and the other that largemouth bass was the biggest largemouth bass I ever caught. And when I set the hook, it rolled over sideways, and I couldn't tell exactly how big it was, but the flash in the water, I literally go, it's a monster. And everybody else in the boat like thought I was joking, and then they saw it jump and they go, oh my God, this is a big fish. I'm just like, yeah, it's big. And then I land it, and like I have a picture of that someplace too, and I'm holding it up, and like, dude, the smile on my face is like, sorry Shannon if you're listening to this, the smile on my face in that bass picture is bigger than the smile on my face in my wedding photo. It's like, dude, like if those aren't even my favorite moments. I'm just letting people know that like if you go fishing, like it's more than what some people think. Like, oh, go out there sitting there, like, no, there's an adrenaline rush. I think you've even said that before. Like you weren't aware of it until you caught the big fish, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh damn, you get an adrenaline rush. And it's like, yeah, dude, it's when you catch a big fish, like a rare one, a rare one, there's that adrenaline rush. It comes with everything.
Yeah.
You open a pack of cards, you pull a rare card, and it's like, oh shit.
Right. Yep.
Like just I see a nice car go past. A lot of times I'll hear it first. What was that?
What just happened? Where is that thing coming from?
And with fishing, knowing, like all those other things are kind of like choice encounters. But with fishing, knowing that you had a chance, that like you did that, you made that happen. Right. You were the one that got that giant fish.
Yep.
Just like when you land it, you're just like,
fuck. Yeah. The sense of achievement and all that shit, right? That hits you.
Yeah. Oh. And that's why Instagram exists. Because I gotta show everybody my fish.
Oh shit, dude. That is true. That is true. Let's wrap this up. Otherwise, we're just gonna start telling fishing stories all night. And I wanted to keep it to our favorite one and our like unbelievable one, right?
Right. And that's why I'm just saying, like those exciting ones, like you got to go out there and you got to catch ones because you're gonna get these stories.
Right.
You have these exciting ones. I have these exciting ones. I have plenty of stories I could tell, but there's that one that's gonna stand out amongst all of them, and it's not gonna happen unless you go a lot. If you just go one time, maybe you'll kill it that one time, but I don't know how you have a great fishing story to tell one time and then after you never even try it again.
Right.
Even if you have it that one time, how would you be like, we went out, it was awesome. Have you went again? No, I have not. Like,
right.
You liked it though, right? No. Yeah, I did.
But but you're not gonna go again?
Right.
Okay, that's weird.
Yeah. You ever been on a roller coaster? Yeah, dude, it's so cool. You ever been back? No. I don't know. Go back.
Nah, I'm good. Just went on once. Like, what?
Yeah.
What? No. You go on the fucking next roller coaster right next to it immediately after that.
I had sex one time. It was fantastic. Have you done it again? I'm a busy man.
Right.
There's something wrong with you, man.
What's wrong with you?
Go enjoy the good things in life. What are you doing?
Right. Fuck yeah, dude. That is a perfect thing. It's just like, yeah, that is what real AFTV is about, dude. Just fucking like, seriously, share this with your friends that don't fish. We're trying to get people fishing.
Yeah, and then you know what? You go in and then you can like multiply it. Do all these things on the same day. You catch that big fish, you're feeling good about yourself. Go ride a roller coaster and see if your wife wants to do stuff later that night. Triple it up.
Just
My
go.
best fishing day, my best fishing memory is like this, and it has some added
Added bonus.
bonuses afterwards. We're not going to go into all of them, but it was a good day, buddy.
Good day.
Good day.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Well, we got to hit the break and switch over to the other topic we talk about quite a bit around here on the Real AF TV podcast. Food. Love
Yep.
cooking. We love fucking cooking.
Yeah.
But Tim, you're one of my cooking friends.
Hell yeah.
That's the way I put it. You're one of my cooking friends. You and your wife are the people that when we go hang out with, we cook with.
Yes.
We do it on purpose. Or we go somewhere really
cook.
dope that has food and then we cook in the morning. So that still means we cook with. Fuck. That didn't make any sense. Erase that from your brains.
Hey man, we do social things.
Right.
Fishing, cooking.
Yeah. And so yeah, you guys are one of the people that we cook with. And I was like, oh yeah, man, we got to talk about how did we even get into cooking? How did that even start? Because obviously we started hanging out in high school, wasn't cooking. How did that happen? That's what we don't have to get into. Well, whatever. We're going to get into it. How did cooking happen for us? That's coming up in the random take. Hit the break.